Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Project Seminar. The Project Seminar is a program in which major clients directly explain ongoing and future projects to Korean companies. Today, total of 14 organizations prepared their presentation for GICC 2022. Let us get started. Today's first presenter is from Kenya Urban Roads Authority, Assistant Director Simeon Merin Koitalek will be giving his presentation on Nairobi ITS Establishment and Junction Improvement Project. Please welcome Mr. Koitalek.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Merin Koitalek from the Kenya Urban Roads Authority in the Republic of Kenya. And I'm going to give an overview of Nairobi ITS Establishment and Junction Improvement Project, a project that is being undertaken in the Republic of Kenya. I'm going to give an overview of the institutional structure that we have in the Republic of Kenya. So we fall under the Ministry of Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development, where the Kenya Urban Roads Authority is. And that is our mandate. Generally, it is the management, development, rehabilitation, maintenance of urban national road transport. And that is our vision and mission, which is generally about enhancing urban mobility. That is the map of the Republic of Kenya. We have one regional headquarters that is based in Nairobi, and we have 10 regional offices that manages the entire network of Kenya. Kenya Urban Roads Authority was established in the year 2007, and so far, that is the kind of achievements that we've been able to do in terms of design, construction, rehabilitation and upgrading, bridges, footbridges, periodic maintenance, and routine maintenance. For those of you who have been lucky to be in Nairobi, those are the kind of roads that, some of the roads that we've done so far, the major arterials in Nairobi. So there is the traditional decongestion treatment that revolves around the issues of transport demand management. So we have been having here in Korea and the world over in Nairobi also continued network development, where we have grade separation, enhancement and volume treatments and such. We have created a lot of bypasses and missing links. We've had model shift and promotion of mass rapid transit systems like BRT, commuter rail, and so on. But then what you've noticed is that there has been some elements of congestion that remains at the nodes and high traffic areas. So for example, if that is your problem, that you are having a bottleneck, we know that the highways to the city are very broad and very fast and high mobility. But when you come to the city, you have some sort of bottleneck situation. Would road expansion therefore be your solution? It will not be the answer, because urban streets are not going to change. Unless urban renewal takes place, it's not going to increase. So what we do is that we are trying to do an element of traffic demand management, where we stagger arrival time, have certain policies like decongestion pricing and so on. And that we are trying to achieve through intelligence transport system in Kenya. And why do we require different intervention? Because as I said, there has been continued network development, which has not yielded a lot of things. We have been having continuous issues of congestion and traffic accidents that are increasing. Because of that reason, there are always inadequate mobility options that takes place. And at the junctions and intersections where we have a lot of bottlenecks, which are the control points, we are having more conflict. So we have generally two types of interventions to the mobility options of a city. We have the hard measures and the soft measures. As I said, on the left-hand side, the hard measures includes issues of network expansion. Those are some of the projects that we are having in Nairobi. The bottom two pictures is what you call the Nairobi Expressway. But below the Nairobi Expressway, some of the times we still see elements of congestion. And that is why we are saying we are shifting to the soft measures of traffic demand management, and we are going to highlight in the study. So in Kenya, also in Nairobi, we are trying to come up with a smart city, like the one we are having here in Seoul, where we have several elements of a smart city components, and among it is the transportation engineering element, where our project of intelligence transport systems falls in, where we are trying to collect data, manage that data, use that data to improve the system, and connect it to the Internet of Things. This is how we define ITS in Kenya, where we are just saying it is just an integrated system where we have information and communication technologies intertwined with transportation engineering elements, so that we apply the same in road transport, in public transport, such as the bus information system and bus management systems for BRT and commuter rail, and integration also with railway, air, and maritime, because we have also coastal towns in the Republic of Kenya. The components that we are looking at is the advanced traffic management system, where we have the general issue of signalization as a traffic control measure, vehicle detection, and real-time monitoring. Also, we have issues to do with advanced travel information systems, but one of the things that we're also doing is that we are combining it with geometry improvement to ensure that we minimize conflicts in some of the areas. For those who are familiar with the intelligence transport systems, those are what we are having. The green ones are the ones that we've been implemented in Kenya so far, but the entire spectrum of it is what we are going to implement in Nairobi and roll out to the other parts of the Republic. The general configuration of it is that we have the traffic video surveillance systems, the traffic guidance, signal control. We are going to implement the traffic data collection and the e-police system and e-tolling. E-tolling is already started through the Nairobi Expressway, and all that is going to be connected to the traffic management and control center that is based at Kura headquarters. So why do we think of alternative infrastructure development? Because in the Republic of Kenya, Nairobi has the largest density of network per kilometer. A lot of traffic police officers are based in Nairobi. We have the largest concentration of traffic engineers. We have currently a traffic management center, and we also have a police control and command center. But then we are still having elements of congestion. So we say that why don't we look for an alternative way of managing that traffic? That is also the situation in Nairobi and in Kenya in general, where we have several elements from traffic planning and management, enforcement being done by police. We have the public transport sector. We have the commuter railway, taxis and mobile apps, airport, and the issue of development of infrastructure. It is being handled by different agencies in the Republic of Kenya. And we are having a problem. One of it is that all the players are invisible to each other. We have manual control of the traffic system through police officers. We have a lot of resources that are duplicated, cannot be integrated, cannot be controlled, and they are not combined. What remains is that we have a problem of continued traffic congestion. I'm going to give an overview of the current status of ITS development, the methodology in which we take to implement our ITS. So generally, what we do is that we start from the traffic surveys, subject the same to some form of traffic modeling, where we assess the junction capacity, come with the weak point analysis, and then we select the particular junctions that we need to implement. And after that, we carry out the engineering design of it. So the starting point is defining the current network, where we do a network analysis, starting from the traffic surveys at arterials, collectors, the major nodes, and then we superimpose the same on traffic accident data. And then we choose the most weakest link of the network in terms of volume and accident. After that, we carry out traffic and modeling through microscopic and microscopic models and select the most appropriate junctions to do. So after doing the feasibility study, we came up with over 450 junctions that are under consideration. Those junctions have been spread across phase 1 to phase 4, and we are doing an ultra-modern, fully equipped metropolitan-wide traffic management center. The same traffic management center is going to integrate all other transport modes, including BRT, rail, and air. That is the location map of the junctions that we are implementing. So we already implemented phase 1, which involves 7 junctions. Phase 1 of it is also going to implement 21 junctions and a traffic management center. Consultancy services for the same is ongoing. Phase 2 is going to involve 60 junctions, and phase 3, 125 junctions, and phase 4, 125 junctions. Phase 1 and phase 2 of the project, we are lucky that the People's Republic of Korea has become our partners in this, and we are very grateful as a nation of the Republic of Kenya. Through the EDCF and Korea-Exim Bank, you are financing the project for us, and the people of the Republic of Kenya are very grateful. So that is generally the overview of the project, as I have already highlighted, phase 1 and phase 2 being financed through the Economic Development Fund of Korea, managed by the Korea-Exim Bank, and they have commenced together with BRT Line 5 along Outer Ring Road. And then we have still a funding deficit for phase 3 and phase 4. One of the components that we are trying to do includes the automatic traffic data collection system, because we've noticed that we do not have a lot of continuous collection of information, which we are going to do. The system is adaptive in nature, and we are going to use some of the systems that have already been implemented in Seoul, such as the Cosmos, and bring some of the elements of Topis, and bring it to replicate the same in Nairobi. We are going to have a real-time traffic information system, electronic toll connection system, because we now have an expressway, variable message signs, parking guidance and information systems, and a public transport management system. One of the things that we've done, we have already implemented a pilot project that involves 7 junctions that are fully intelligent and adaptive. Some 10 junctions are semi-intelligent, 3 of them are standalone, and we have 24 other junctions that are standalone that are under the jurisdiction of the county government of Nairobi. If you look at the situation that we did, the pictures on the left show the comparison before the implementation of intelligence transport system, and the ones on the right, you can see that we have a lot of improvement in terms of conflicts have reduced, travel time has reduced, nodal waiting time have reduced, and we generally have general network efficiency. One of the things that we are also implementing is the automated traffic enforcement system. We are calling the EAT Police, that basically just detects traffic violations such as the red light, reverse driving, wrong lane change, illegal U-turns. That is going to be able to collect information in real time, have a date stamp on the same, and then we are going to be able to transfer that information to the Traffic Management Center for analysis, and after that we are going to send some penalty and fines to the offenders. So that is generally one of the description of the ways that we are currently detecting lane violation, from picture number 1, number 2, where there's the start of the violation to the end of the violation in slide number 3. And so we collect the video, picture, date, and timestamp of where that violation took place. Those are the various agencies that have a way or the other to do with ITS in Nairobi, from Kenya Roads Authority, who are the implementers of the system, the Kenya Police, the local county government, Nairobi Metropolitan Area Transport Authority in charge of transport, public transport. We have National Transport and Safety Authority, all of them falling under the umbrella of Kenya. So what we are saying is that we are implementing the project in terms of all institutions are coordinated, data is shared across all networks, all authorities of the government to avoid duplicity. That coordination we are implementing is going to be coordinated through intelligence transport system by formulation of what we call a traffic brain, where we are going to have all the information about all systems, all mobility, all planning of the road in a simple structure called the Traffic Management Center. I'm trying to rush because of time, so allow me. So we are going to have a Traffic Management Center also that is going to ensure that data is shared, is monitored, is analyzed, evaluation of the same is done so that we apply transportation engineering elements of planning, design, forecasting and all that. And then we are also going to have an information center to the public. We are going to integrate public transport on the same element, such as the bus information system, video monitoring on the transport network, mobility, in-vehicle display, display at the terminals, and then the same is going to be integrated in a GIS platform to enable guidance of the system and operation of the bus information system and bus management system. Benefits of the ITS that we have, of intelligence transport system that we have experienced so far, we have had general traffic flow efficiency up to 40% from analysis that you've done. We have reduced waiting time to less than 30 seconds at intersections. Traffic enforcement has been done manually in Kenya and all over Africa. But now what we see that we are now reducing a lot of police officers on site. We also have a lot of elements of real-time traffic data collection, which has been providing a lot of accurate information for forecasting and engineering design. And the biggest thing that we've achieved so far is issues to do with the centralized infrastructure and network management in one platform. An example of it is that as much as, for example, we are getting support from the Republic of Korea because of capital expenditure, we are saying that the project is going to be self-sustainable because we are going to generate a lot of fines from it, and it's going to assist us to do other network expansion and the expansion of phase 3 and phase 4, not just in Nairobi, but other bigger cities of the Republic of Kenya. So those are some of the things that we are requesting for. Of course, we are looking for expansion of networks. We are saying that we require additional funding for phase 3 and phase 4. We have other bigger cities in the Republic of Kenya, such as Mombasa, Eldoret, Nakuru, Kisumu, which require implementation of ITS. We are interested, as a Republic of Kenya, in implementation of smart highways. One of them that also we have had feasibility studies funded by KIND of the Republic of Korea is an expressway from Mombasa to Nairobi. So we also require that. We also need to implement a national database on mobility, traffic sensors, accidents data, just like a library of traffic information. We are also looking for road asset management system and capacity building and technology transfer so that we can be able to borrow some of the things that we have in Korea back to Kenya. And also we have issues to do with non-motorized transport system. Those are some of the urban development plans that we have in the Republic of Kenya. We have Africa Vision 2063, we have Kenya Vision 2030, we have economic models for economic growth, to improve social and political food security, affordable housing, enhancing manufacturing, and universal health. So all the issues to do with our project falls within the urban planning of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Koitalek, for the presentation. We will move on to the next presenter, Next presenter is from Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Director Aliyu Mohamed Abu Bakar will give a presentation on the global infrastructure, Nigeria's efforts. Please welcome Mr. Abu Bakar.
Good afternoon, and let me start by thanking the organizers for inviting me to this event, and also for their innovation in terms of linking 2022 GICC to other events, the World Smart City Expo, as well as Smart Construction Expo. I think it has added color, and it will add value to the conference. For us in Nigeria, this conference provides opportunity for information sharing and learning new things, particularly innovation. We also hope that the conference will deepen or improve our cooperation in the area of infrastructure. So in terms of Nigeria's effort, you see that in my table of contents, I tried to give some basic information on Nigeria. Some of you may not be too familiar with the country and the efforts we are making when it comes to infrastructure. So in terms of basic information, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is a country in West Africa, and is geographically located between Sahel to the north and Gulf of Guinea to the south. To the south, it covers an area of 923,769 square kilometers, and has a population of 280 million. It is actually Africa's largest country. Largest in terms of population. We have the most population, and also we have the sixth most populous country in the world. We have, this is just in terms of our composition. We have different groups, and we have three main groups in Nigeria. We have relatively advanced infrastructure, at least in comparative terms, when you compare the country with other African countries in terms of roads, rail, airports, and communication network. But the road system is by far the most important element in the country's transportation network, carrying about 95% of nation goods and services. So this is where we need your support and your cooperation to see how we can improve the road network. But we are also thinking of multimodal transport system where we'll be able to take advantage of the road, the rail, the air, and other transport system. So just to inform you that a lot is going on in terms of reform. We have recognized the importance of infrastructure, and extensive reforms is going in the area of power, ports, ICT, and domestic air transport sectors. These are sectors that we give priority to so that we'll be able to develop Nigeria's economy. This is just an indication or the map showing where Nigeria is located in Africa. As I said, we are in West Africa. And now, in terms of infrastructure, I don't need to go through the definition because all of you know infrastructure and the importance of infrastructure as a driver of economic prosperity and progress. So we are all for infrastructure, and I will just be taking you through the efforts we have made and how you can come in to support and to complement the effort of Nigeria's government in terms of provision of infrastructure, which is key to developing and improving the Nigeria's economy. The Nigerian economy in the last decade has recorded strong growth due to sustained reform and integration into the global economy. We realize that we cannot go anywhere without reforms. So we are taking extensive reforms, and we are also trying to see how we can integrate into the global economy. And as a result of that, we are Africa's largest economy, and if we are to maintain that position, we need to improve and upgrade our infrastructure. So we also seek to integrate into the global economy and improve the living conditions of Nigerians. So infrastructure is key in all the things that we do. Now, in terms of where we are, as I said, we are taking steps to ensure that we modernize and upgrade our existing infrastructure to be able to provide the services needed for the growth and development of the Nigerian economy. But we have, and that will also help us in terms of achieving our national policy goals, our regional policy goals, and global policy goals, such as sustainable development goals. We are seeking to diversify the Nigerian economy by moving away from oil. Oil has been the mainstay of Nigeria's economy for quite some time. But that is coming with a lot of problems, with a lot of challenges. So we are trying to diversify now. And key to that plan or to that effort is infrastructure. So, and the demand for infrastructural facilities is actually outpacing supply. So we need to do more, and you need to come in to complement some of the efforts that we are doing. In terms of, as I said, right now, we have a big infrastructural deficit, which is a major issue, and it is a major concern. And it is estimated that the country will require between 100 billion to 150 billion US per annum, or at least for the next 10 years, to close the gap. And the gap include inadequate road network, railway, and power generation, transmission, distribution, educational facilities, health facilities, and among others. So we are trying to see how we can improve all that, and that's why we are calling on our partners to come in and see how we can partner to bridge or to address that deficit. And according to the World Economic Forum 2019 Global Competitiveness Index, we are 116 out of 141 countries, so we need to do more. And as I said, that is where we are looking for partners, and that's where we are looking for support to ensure that we bridge that deficit and provide the much needed infrastructure for development. In terms of continental perspective, the deficit in infrastructure is actually affecting our productivity, and the dearth of infrastructure is making the economy, is limiting the potential of Nigeria. So we need to do more, and we are doing a lot. And I'll just take you through what we have done so far. So the government is committed to infrastructure expansion, and with the realization that it is the only means through which we can achieve some of the policy goals that I have highlighted, both local, regional, and international. So we have embarked on massive expansion in the areas of, these are our focus areas, health, education, transport, manufacturing. But I have to say the key is energy. If we can have energy rights, I think that will go a long way in addressing most of the issues that we have. But we are also looking at agriculture, water resources, and private sector participation. In Nigeria, there has been paradigm shift. Government was responsible for most of the things, but now the private sector is in the driving seat. So the government of Nigeria has introduced what we call the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan to ensure that Nigeria's infrastructure expansion is taking place across the sectors in integrated and in environmentally friendly way. The President has approved that the Central Bank of Nigeria created the Infrastructure Corporation in October 2021 to boost funding for capital projects in the country. And the CBN is in partnership with African Finance Corporation, AFC, the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, with a seed investment of 1 trillion naira. And the funding is expected to grow to 15 trillion naira over the next few years to be deployed to tackle infrastructural projects. The Infra Corp is also private sector driven and co-funded by private sector. It is expected that the leakages, the inefficiency, bureaucracy, waste will not be in existence, or at least be minimized. The President in 2019 signed the Executive Order 007 on road infrastructural development and refurbishment investment tax credit scheme to encourage private sector participation in building our infrastructure. So the master plan 2020 to 2043 is expected to cover a period of 23 years. And with the investment of about $150 billion dollars annually to ensure that we have the much needed infrastructure. So the private sector is to contribute 56%, while the private sector is going to finance 44%. Now, we want foreign direct investments, we want support, we want cooperation, and we want partnership, particularly in the areas, in the priority areas that I have mentioned, the energy, transportation, agric, industrial, telecommunications, technology, and that will have a big effect when we have it in terms of job creation, industrial development, and increased economic activities. Let me conclude by saying that we are looking for partners, and the kind of partners that we are looking for include bilateral, by including Korea and other countries to be able to partner with us to develop our infrastructure. We also need regional as well as multilateral partners to be able to develop our infrastructure. One thing I forgot to mention is that apart from the master plan, government has also established the Infrastructure Concession and Regulatory Commission that seeks to regulate infrastructural development and to work with stakeholders, both local and foreign, to ensure that we have a good plan when it comes to infrastructure, the policy, and implementation. So we are looking at partners at bilateral, regional and multilateral level. But importantly, we are also trying to see how we can mitigate the impact of COVID-19, and so that we'll be able to improve our local and international economy as a whole. So I urge you to please take advantage of the current efforts, and also to work with us to ensure that we have the necessary infrastructure needed for Nigeria's development. We look forward to seeing you, and I'm ready to engage with any of you to discuss specifics, because most of my presentation is more or less general. But if you want any sector-specific discussion on any of the areas, I'm available, and we look forward to participation in subsequent GICC events, including the 2023 GICC. I thank you for listening and for the opportunity. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Abubakar. Our third presenter is the Deputy General Director of the Management Authority for Urban Railways, Vietnam. She will give a presentation on overview of metro system in Ho Chi Minh City. Please welcome Ms. Bu Minh Huen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Vũ Minh Huyền, Deputy General Director of Management Authority for Urban Railway in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Today, I would like to introduce general overview of metro system in Ho Chi Minh City. My presentation will be divided into 4 parts. The first main content will be about the Ho Chi Minh City and MAUR. The second will be the master plan of urban railway network in Ho Chi Minh City. The first main point will be urban railway line being implemented. Last but not least will be about the metro project being called for investment. Now I would like to begin. With a population over 10 million, Ho Chi Minh City is the biggest city in Vietnam. This fact makes it enhance its role as an international business hub. It has become the Vietnam economic capital. The city is now experiencing problems commonly associated with lack of motor lines around the world, such as traffic congestion, air pollution. So it not will be easy providing a good transportation service to citizens without a mass transit system in Ho Chi Minh City. Therefore, developing urban railways is an urgent requirement. The Management Authority for Urban Railways is under Ho Chi Minh City People Committee, and is in charge of implementation urban railway projects which are invested by state budget. MAUR own and manage a MRT line and 3 LRT lines with total length about 220 kilometers. Now I have a short introduction about the Urban Railway Master Plan. As you see in the screen, Ho Chi Minh Plan, an urban railway system consists of a MRT line and 3 LRT lines. At the moment, we have the 3 metro lines being implemented, Line 1, Line 2, Line 5, Phase 1. The remaining roads are calling for investment, some of which being interested by many donors. Line 1 is the first line to be built in Ho Chi Minh City. Its length 19.7 kilometers, with 2.6 kilometers underground and 17.1 elevated. The numbers of stations is 14, 3 underground and 11 elevated. The total investment of the project is 2.49 billion US dollar, funded by GICC. The project progress has reached over 91% and is expected to be operation in the next year. Ho Chi Minh City proposed to extend this line to Bình Dương and Đồng Nai province. Here's some photo about the project. This is the elevated section, the train, and the central government delegation visits the site of metro project. Line 2, Phase 1, Bến Thành Tham Lương is a part of Line 2. It has the length of 11.3 kilometers, in which 9.3 go underground and 2 go overhead. The total investment of the project is over 2 billion US dollar. It's co-financed by IDB, EIB, and KFV. Currently, we are doing the land acquisition and tendering. The third line is the Metro Line 5, Phase 1. Its length is 8.9 kilometers, including 7.5 kilometers underground and 1.4 kilometers overhead. The total investment is about 1.72 billion US dollar from fund of ADB, EIB, and KFV and Spain. Currently, a pre-feasibility study is being appraised by the State Appraisal Board. We expect to be approved in the next year by National Assembly. Next, we will move on the project calling for investment. We have the 10 projects, so I will go in detail. The first one is Bến Thành Hub. Bến Thành Hub is the center of the urban railway system. This is the connection place up for urban railway line, Line 1, Line 2, Line 3A, and Line 4. This project had total investment about 400 billion US dollar. The second one is Metro Line 2, Phase 2. Line 2, Phase 2 is a part of Line 2. It consists of 2 sections, which is an extension of Line 2, Phase 1 at both ends. One section from Bến Thành to Thủ Thiêm with a length of 5.8 kilometers underground, and the other section from Tham Lương to Tây Ninh bus station with a length of 3.3 kilometers elevated. Currently, KSIM Bank intends to finance this section. We are in the negotiation process with the scope of work and the plan for the next step. Similar above, Line 3, Phase 2 is a part of Line 2. This is an extension of Line 2 Phase 2 at Tainan Bus Station. Line 2 Phase 2 has the length of 28 km and fully elevated from Tainan Bus Station to the northwest of Củ Chi. The third one is the Metro Line 3A. Line 3A is an extension of Line 1 to the west of Ho Chi Minh City. The line has the length of about 19.6 km, including two phases. Phase 1 is 11 km long from Bến Thành to the high-tech medical zone with a total investment more than 1.9 billion US dollar. Phase 2 is nearly 8.6 km long from the high-tech medical park to the Tân Kiên depot, with a total investment of nearly 1 billion US dollar. Currently, GICAK intends to finance Line 3A. Now, the loan conditions are under review by the central government. The fourth one is Line 3B, has the length of 12.2 km connecting the northeast area of Ho Chi Minh City to the central area. The road has 9.1 km underground and 3.1 km elevated, with a total investment about 1.87 billion US dollar. Line 4 is one of the long lines of Ho Chi Minh City urban railway network with a length nearly 36 km, connecting the northern and southern area of Ho Chi Minh City. Line 4 has more than 16 km underground and nearly 20 km elevated, with a total investment of more than 1.5 billion US dollar. There are many investors interested on this project. Line 5 Phase 2 is part of Line 5. It has a length of 14.5 km. The total investment for this project is more than 2.1 billion US dollar. Line 6 is the shortest line in the Ho Chi Minh City urban railway system, with a length of 6.8 km underground and connect Line 2 and Line 3A. The total investment for this project is more than 1.3 billion US dollar. So in addition, there are rail lines such as Monorail 2, Monorail 3, and Tramway Line 1, with a less investment cost. So thank you for your attention. I hope that we have the opportunity to cooperate in the near future. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Ms. Huynh. Next presenter is Director Pobong Paopong Sabas from the Ministry of Planning and Investment of Laos. He will give a presentation on Laos PPP ecosystem. Please welcome Mr. Pobong Paopong Sabas.
So good afternoon, 안녕하세요. And it is my great pleasure to be here and would like to express my thanks to the Secretariat of the GICC. For this year is the remarkable, it's the 10th anniversary. And we can look forward for a very fruitful and successful conference in another decade. I would hope so, or even for another century. Since the infrastructure is endless, even from developing country up to develop in here and in Western world, infrastructure is had to be moved forward with the technology and smart technology. And today, I'm going to talk about the PPP, which is a public and private partnership ecosystem in Laos. It is very new, of course, since we start off to have this division back in 2018 under the Investment Promotion Department. And due to the COVID, so even we have only 2 years, so quite young for us. And of course, with even that limitation, but we are very encouraged to and very active to join in this conference, even in person, and as well as virtually last year. Yes, and my presentation is private 4 parts. First, we'll show introduction as well as my team, and second, I will talk about the PPP ecosystem in my country, and we walk you through from it started till we come with today. Actually, it started off with the infrastructure development policy, and then in order to put into the effort, we have the private investment as well as ODA, and then we open for the foreign direct investment. And until now, we have to cooperate between the public and private to make the project even more comprehensive. So my team consisted 3 people, leading my minister and a colleague from MPI, Ministry of Planning Investment, and 2 of them right now is in the another room back to back with us, since he has the GICC minister and CEO forums. And for myself, I'm the director, as I mentioned earlier, and appointed last year, December. I'm very happy, like other, I guess, if you got promoted. And I got my master's degree from California, and which is, I spent 2 years over there, and then I got back here to contribute myself to the public sector. And I value a lot about the conference, since it's giving me a chance to get myself exposed to the potential investor as well as the development partner, so can help my division, especially for the public sector, to enhance the capabilities, since we very young for the PPP division itself. So as for our country, we very small, but very lovely. And we in the center between like China on the north, and then we also sharing with Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia. And since we are in the center, so the government had a vision to transform ourselves into the center and provide the services as a land link. And several project infrastructure going on, like mentioned earlier. We have allocated the public investment. We also have cooperated with the bilaterally with other countries to welcome the ODA to improve the infrastructure, basic infrastructure networking. And then we start off seeing is quite challenges due to the funding for the big scale investment, and then we open for private sector, especially for the foreign direct investment. And we start to have the railway project cost about like $6 billion from North China to the center of Laos. And then we also have the railway, which is parallel with the route of the railway from the north to the center. And from the other route, which is from center to the south, we also have, which are also on the studying right now on the FS from the other investor to develop the railway as well as the highway, giving those, if those projects become complete and operate, Laos will be horizontally and vertically, looking at a map, we will link it with our neighboring country, which is 5 countries. And that will be led to reducing, of course, for the cost of the transportation and as well as for the services, which is gonna be enable the business, especially for industry. So now, apart from doing the hard infrastructure development, in the soft part, like a policy, we also work with the World Bank, especially the World Bank Group in Laos. We had office over there, and then they also helped us for almost like 5 to 6 years already in terms of improving the ease of the business. But right now, since it's no more ranking, but we're still using the methodology and as well as a benchmark, to encourage our public sector. Since we have several different agencies to how can I say, to approve the licenses to the business investor. And talking about the PP, this is based on the successful of the other country for introducing this concept. We also onboard into that one too. Like mentioned, we start to have a division in 2018, but we started actually to officially have the decree of the PPP in 2020. And this is going to be a legal document to regulate and promote the PPP project. So basically for this decree, we got the assistance from ADB. So most of the contents will be in line with the international PPP standard in terms of the mechanism as well as the mode of investment, like at least here, like a 9, and we put other. But this for the other itself, we just open for the other type of the mode of investment. We have like a DBFO, BOT, BOOT, and even O&M. But based on the actual study of each of the project, we also open for the investor to introduce or even have get a better mode of investment. We can talk about that, and then got approved by the government, and then we execute it. For the decree itself, as I mentioned earlier, we try to ensure efficiency and transparencies, and also try to encourage the innovations in order to, how can I say, to match with the pace of the development of the country. And apart from that, the policy also in line with the international practices, as I mentioned earlier, and we are trying to promote the private from abroad and from Laos to enter partnership with the government, so that to create a sustainable investment and as well offering the standard investment incentive based on the foreign direct investment law. So far we have 6 projects under the PPP mode. Majority is in infrastructure. 3 already have the MOU, and one of those MOU is about to, we already all awarded the project to the investor and about to sign the CA to start up construction and operation. And the other 3 is under consideration right now, since they applied, and then we have discussed with the authority. And one of those is also about to sign the MOU, since it's finished the paperwork, and we wait only for the mapping of the project. So based on like 4 years for us with the PPP, we also learned that we have challenges and aware of those challenges, and we also try to cope with that. There are 4 to 5 limitations or challenges that we have. Of course, as a developing country, we also lack of the government fundings for the project itself, as well as the PPP funding for study the FS before we tendering for the investor. And the second one is also lack of the pipeline project, which is very common for developing country when they start off with the PPP. And for this one, we also engaged our development partner to assist to developing the pipeline projects, and as well as the tool to regulate that. And the third one is also a limitation of the human resources. In my division, we only have 5 people, including my boss, and then even we're in we're just very new. And of course, with we also try to expand. With the help from ADB, we're going to upgrade the decree to become a law, and then of course it will transform the division to become the department level, and we will inject the budget as well as the human resource. And for the fourth one, the experience on the process, PPP process. Even like I mentioned earlier, PPP is very well known and it's complex, of course. And right now, with the help of UNDP, we just finished the standard operating procedure, which is we call SOP for the PPP. And right now in Laos, they are conducting the training. It will be a 3-day training for the SOP. And fifth one, which is the lack of the PPP marketing strategy. Marketing is huge. It's important to promote the project, like we all understand. So giving the chance to join this conference, and as well as the conference organized by UNESCAP, they have like a we have got that chance to promote the project to our potential investor. So here are the project that I mentioned earlier, the 6 projects that been into the PPP mode. First one is the nationwide project covering 18 provinces. And the second one is the upgrading the international airport in the northern part. Third one is the wind farm in the central part. And fourth one is elephant conservation, which is a tourism. Fifth one is the railway project, like running from the center to the southern part. And number 6 is not, I forgot to tie in here. It is the highway project, which is to connect the southern part horizontally to the border of Vietnam. So, and then we're going to the detail of each project. First one is the integrated vehicle and road traffic management. I think it's similarly to our colleague for the first presentation is talking about e-police. So this one is a $700 million US. So they're going to develop the system, and as well as the civil work, and work closely with the officer to monitor especially for the compliance with the traffic rules. And if those who not complying will be fined, and then they will develop the system to monitor and then get the fine from those public road user. And this one is we call as a pioneer, since it's introducing the new concept, and is the investor from China in Shenzhen. They are very leading investor in this area, and then they also have the project in several cities in China. And the second one is a railway project. This one is also under the MOU with us. We signed with the Thailand and the Chinese investor. And it's 2 years. Another like 3 months. It will be the period of the MOU will be ended, and this project will also be like giving the tendering as well as the very standard PPP project. And the cost will be less as comparing to the project in the north due to the geographical of Laos itself. In the north we have mountain, in the southern part is a flat land. So the project itself it will be less, but however the revenue will be, of course, will get the high margin for this project. It's very appealing. And along those lines, I'm very encouraged for when we have complete the FS and go on tendering, we will advertise on our website. So I hope the colleague from the as investor from Korea will be joining on that bidding. And this one is also, we also signed the MOU with the Korean firm, which is a Korean Aviation Corporation in last year, 2021, December. And to upgrade this international aviation in the northern part of Laos, which is the ancient city. It is the destination for the tourists. Each year, for the number of the passenger itself is about, on average, it will be 1 million. And the current the airport can accommodate the Airbus 320 and Boeing 737. So giving the potential for this number of the tourism. So we are very happy to have the KAC to join us, take part on this. And we expect to complete the FS and as well ESIA study and also model investment by this December. And we also will roll out this tendering as well. So we encourage other potential investor internationally to come and compete. So the end is like we would like to have the best one for developing this, upgrading this airport. And the wind power, this one is 102 megawatt, will be located in the central part of Laos. It's about this under the consideration right now. So if you soon sign the MOU with us, the investor is Laos and as well, and also together with French. They already have the plant, the wind farm in Vietnam, and also have the power purchasing agreement with the government. So, but due to the, how can I say, they signed the PPA is like over 100 megawatt, but this cannot fulfill that. It still have some more room, so they're going to build in Laos and export to Vietnam. And also we encourage one is sign the MOU and then start doing the FS and going on the tendering. We also would like to encourage our Korean partner, since we have over here, like us looking at the conference this morning, it's a very smart technology happening around in Korea. So last one is the elephant conservation project. This one is very interesting. In the northern part of Laos, we have the forest reservation in the area of 190,000 hectares with the 70 elephants, which is wild elephants. We would like to protect, but in order to make it very comprehensively, but still generate the income for the business. So we also try to invite the investor to develop the eco type of this tourism services to create the tourism center and as well as for providing the tour and get the fund, and then we protect these wild elephants and others as well. So this one is about to sign MOU and we just waiting for the map on these areas. So I think that's all for my presentation. So hopefully those projects I mentioned earlier, only 5 is left for the tendering. And hopefully that we'd like to encourage our Korean partners to join on the bidding. Thank you so much.
Today's 5th presenter is the General Manager Murad Abdullah Al-Said from Saudi Arabian oil company Aramco. He will give a presentation on projects shaping our tomorrow. Please welcome Mr. Al-Said.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is always great to be back to Korea, a lovely country that I had the opportunity to live in the past. In today's presentation, I'll try to make it brief and share with you a general overview on Saudi Aramco capital program projects that covers the 3 years of 2022 until 2024. And I will conclude by briefly sharing with you the contractors registration and pre-qualification process that would be an item of interest to Korean contractors. I'll start my presentation by briefly going over the vision and mission of Saudi Aramco Project Management, and then, as I said, I will share with you the portfolio of the projects, and then the contracting general bid slates and registration process. In Saudi Aramco projects, we have set to ourselves very challenging target to be the global benchmark in delivering global sustainable project management system by 2025. To achieve this mission, or vision, we embark in 4 pillars in our mission. First, by developing and retaining our project management workforce by providing the right engagement and talent development. This does not limit itself to Saudi Aramco project resources, but we also extend our support and help to the development of our contractors and partners' resources in order to retain a healthy community of project management resources. We also leverage and best practices, and we have been always welcoming and developing and deploying new construction and engineering technologies. We open our doors to all the contractor ideas if they want to experiment or practice or introduce new technologies and practices in the engineering on construction field. We also continue in developing our internal procedures in order to be robust and dynamic to meet the global situation and the changes in the project environment. And last but not least, we always value and forge our strategic partnerships with contractors and engineering firms in the field of project management, where we believe the long-term partnership is a key element in the success of any project management environment. As had been said repeatedly, the global pandemic have set our construction industry to a situation that we have never practiced or experienced in the past. At the moment of time, in early 2020, the entire globe has put on hold and locked down, where many of projects had been canceled or put on hold or deferred. Many of the plans were disturbed, creating an imbalance in the industry. Followed by the lockdown reliefs and the return of business, we experienced a surge in the project industry, where we anticipate that during 2022, 13% increase in the project industry will be faced compared to 2020. In Saudi Arabia, we expect that growth to reach up to 40% and the project workload demand. Saudi Aramco, as one of the key pillars in the development of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and to remain as the reliable energy supplier of the world, we always keep our capital program dynamic and developing. We focus, of course, as a core business of our project in the oil and gas projects. However, we continue in diversifying our business in various fields. We are expanding in the petrochemical and downstream. We continue building pipeline networks that support the operation of our business across the kingdom. We are expanding heavily these times in the offshore and marine development for the new oil and gas field development. We continue our own infrastructure projects that varies into civil, electrical, and building that support the operation of our company, provide residential complexes for our employees, and provide the communication and electrical network required to support the operation of our facilities. Throughout the 3 years business plan, we have 147 projects have been approved by the management. They are distributed over the 3 years, starting with the 22 until 24. As I said earlier, the majority of the projects will remain in the field of oil and gas, where 98 projects have been planned in this sector, with 25 projects in civil and infrastructure and 24 projects in electrical and communication. Throughout these projects, we intend to deliver 12 new oil and gas facilities, 3 downstream facilities in the refining, petrochemical, and distribution networks. And to share with you a brief glance of the magnitude of these projects, the total estimated quantities of earth development, cut and fill, will be approximately 60 million cubic meter of sand movement. We expect that this project will require more than 2.5 million cubic meter of concrete. We will lay more than 12,000 kilometers of cross-country pipelines and plant piping, and we will lay more than 20,000 kilometers of cables. More details about these projects will continue to be shared with the qualified contractors for the different projects. In 2022, we are well in our plan to deliver and award 47 projects. The majority are focused in the oil sector, where more than 10 projects have been awarded this year. We'll continue to do the bidding process of multiple pipeline and distribution projects, as well as many other offshore and utility projects. 2023 will constitute the peak in our project activities. More than 55 projects will be offered for bidding in the various sectors. I will focus more on the gas processing facilities. We have a new gas development plan for Jafurah, phase 2. As you will aware, phase 1 is well underway in the engineering and construction phase now, with good participation from Korean contractors. Phase 2 is coming on the plan, where it will plan to expand the new facilities as well as lay down new infrastructure facilities. We'll continue expanding in our pipeline and distribution with multiple projects that will be offered in this year. Having said that, with the majority of our projects still focused on oil and gas, all these projects will have a major part of their segment that includes the infrastructure projects. As you all were aware, all these projects will require site development, will require temporary facilities and support systems, will require buildings and infrastructure facilities, as well as roads and pipelines. In 2024, we have additional 45 projects will be offered for bidding and tendering. As we go with that, as I said earlier, this development plan is dynamic, and it's set to be reviewed and updated by end of each year, and Saudi Aramco will continue sharing the updated information with the interested and qualified contractors. Moving into the third part of my presentation, which will focus on the contracting strategies. To share with you the information, in our projects, we mainly prefer two types of contracts, which are the lump sum, starting with the lump sum procure build, in which Saudi Aramco develops the preliminary engineering as well as detailed engineering, and sometimes also will expand in procuring some materials that will be offered to the contractors who will take care of procuring the bulk material and the construction and installation of these systems. The second type of our project, which constitutes the majority of our project, is the lump sum turnkey, where the EPC contractors will be responsible for the detail engineering, procurement, and construction. In our system, we have developed 18 types of bid slates. The bid slate constitutes a certain discipline that varies in its nature and type, such as civil, infrastructure, electrical, in-plant, greenfield, and brownfield, as well as other systems. And for the contractors to be included in the bid slate, they go through one-time pre-qualification process, and only those contractors who are qualified to be in the bid slate will be solicited and invited to bid in the offered projects. The contractors will be qualified based on different criteria that I will cover shortly later on. We're glad to say that our population of contractors and pool of service providers is healthy. It covers contractors from 42 countries, where Korean contractors constitute key part of it, as well as other international contractors. The pre-qualification process focuses on 6 elements. It's focused on the contractor's financial qualification and capabilities. It reviews the experience that the contractor had in the field of interest, the performance of the contractor in his previous projects, the resources and their experience, the equipment, and the quality and safety systems with the contractor. As I said, we have 18 types of bid slates that include in-plant projects, onshore pipeline, civil infrastructure, building, marine, electrical, residential, site preparation, water treatment, The list goes on for electrical, communication, and other sectors. By this, I will come to the end of my presentation, where you will find the references here that will guide the contractors to register and start the process of the pre-qualification process. And I will be glad to answer any question if you have tomorrow, inshallah, during our one-to-one presentation to help you go through the qualification and registration process. Thank you. Kamsani.
Thank you, Mr. Al-Said. Next presentation is prepared by First Deputy Minister Sahib Saip Nazarov of Housing and Communal Services of Republic of Uzbekistan. He will give a presentation on water supply and sanitation in Uzbekistan. Please welcome Mr. Saip Nazarov.
Добрый день, дамы и господа. Позвольте вам представить проекты в сфере водоснабжения и водоотведения, которые реализуются в Республике Узбекистан. В первую очередь я бы хотел отметить, что с избранием нового президента, господина Мирзиева, была начата большая комплексная работа по развитию водоснабжения в Республике Узбекистан. В первую очередь было создано Министерство жилищно-коммунального обслуживания, и в 2020 году было создано акционерное общество «Устутаминот», которое объединило все разрозненные предприятия по водоснабжению в регионах в единую структуру, которая занимается проведением единой политики в сфере водоснабжения, водоотведения, подготовка кадров и выработки тарифной политики. На сегодняшний день в Республике Узбекистан централизованным водоснабжением обеспечено 71% населения, остальные 29% пользуются альтернативными источниками водоснабжения. Услугами водоотведения обеспечено 17,6% или 6,2 миллиона населения. То есть, как вы видите, достаточно большая перспектива и достаточно большая работа предстоит еще в республике по улучшению системы водоснабжения, повышению качества воды, безопасности водоснабжения и также, конечно, водоотведения. Ну, основные концепции до 2035 года разработана. Она предусматривает в себя улучшение водоснабжения, повышение качества воды и развитие инфраструктуры. Кроме того, у нас отдельным идет направление, это до 2026 года повысить уровень обеспеченности до 90%. Как вы можете увидеть, то есть то, что было, и на сегодняшний день, что уже стало. То есть только за 5 лет, с 2017-2021 года, было привлечено в отрасль более 1,1 миллиарда долларов, построено 1826 сооружений, протянуто 24 тысячи километров водопроводных сетей, почти более 1000 километров канализационных сетей, 56 построено очистных сооружений. Это и большие очистные сооружения, и малые очистные сооружения. Я бы хотел отметить, что сейчас в Республике Узбекистан ведется большая работа по урбанизации, и, конечно же, урбанизация невозможна без санитарии. Во время, несмотря на пандемию, была проделана большая работа, работа не останавливалась, и были реализованы такие большие проекты, как обеспечение водой 2 районов Бухарской области, было обеспечено более 260 тысяч населения, строительство очистных сооружений в Самарканде, где как раз в сентябре будет проходить большое мероприятие ШОС, и участвовать будут руководители многих государств и стран. И, конечно же, это новые современные структуры. И здесь я бы хотел отметить, что сделан новый подход, направленный непосредственно на потребителей, на людей, на абонентов. То есть каждое строительство ведется уже не просто, то есть обеспечивается какой-то населенный пункт, а доводится непосредственно до абонента, до людей, устанавливаются приборы учета и, соответственно, обеспечивается и возврат вкладываемых инвестиций за счет сбора, повышения сбора денег. Завершается проект в Ташкентской области. Это сооружение 100 тысяч кубических метров в сутки. Будет обеспечено более 670 тысяч населения водой. Проект реализуется совместно с Азиатским банком развития. Кроме того, вот, то, о чем я говорил, до 2026 года за счет реализации проектов на общую сумму более 5 миллиардов долларов будет обеспечено водой около 90% населения республики, а услугами санитарии будет охвачено 35% населения. Это открывает большие возможности для инвестиций. Инвестиции идут из нескольких источников. Первый источник – это государственный бюджет, он вкладывает в развитие сетей. Второй источник – это средства международных финансовых институтов. И третий источник – это уже то, о чем мы говорили, частно-государственное партнерство. И я бы хотел остановиться на проекте, который реализуется в Сурхандаринской области. Это мегапроект, строится очистное сооружение общей мощностью 200 тысяч кубических метров в сутки, протяженность сетей более 400 километров, водой будет обеспечено 1 700 000 населения. Здесь основную трассу и основные водоводы государство берет на себя, а на строительство разводящих сетей будет привлекаться зарубежный партнер, частный оператор, который в свою очередь будет вкладывать в это дело средства. Проект уже начат, и уже в 3 районах Сурхандаринской области до конца текущего года будет дана вода, обеспечена водой. Отдельное внимание, конечно же, уделяется развитию кадрового потенциала, и здесь бы я хотел отметить наших партнеров. Это K-Water компания, с которой у нас имеется меморандум, и начата работа по созданию академии по подготовке, переподготовке кадров в сфере водоснабжения и водоотведения. Налажена связь с населением, потому что очень важно получать ответную реакцию от населения, и поэтому путем использования всех и социальных сетей, телефонных линий налажена связь с населением. И только за прошедший год было поступлено 206 тысяч обращений, которые своевременно были реализованы и, конечно же, позволили нам работать над своими ошибками и совершенствовать деятельность. Кроме того, идет внедрение новых технологий, создана система биллинга, и планируется создать систему Smart Water, над которой мы работаем совместно с нашими партнерами из Азиатского банка развития. И, конечно же, здесь вот мы приглашаем корейские компании для участия в реализации этих проектов. Это будет идти как Smart Water, так и будет увязка идти со Smart City. И коротко о тех проектах, которые предусмотрены. На сегодняшний день уже реализуется 16 проектов на сумму 1,6 миллиардов долларов. И перспективно имеются 23 проекта на 2,1 миллиард долларов, в том числе 2 проекта с участием АБР, Азиатского банка инфраструктурных инвестиций 3 проекта, 6 проектов это Европейским банком реализуется, Европейский инвестиционный банк 3 проекта, АФД 3 проекта и в стадии проработки 6 проектов, которые мы также готовы предоставить для того, чтобы инвестировать. Это может быть инвестиционное соглашение, это может быть работа на основе PPP. Вот коротко о той работе, которая проводится в Узбекистане, и мы с удовольствием ждем и приветствуем участие зарубежных компаний у нас в Узбекистане. Спасибо.
Thank you, First Deputy Minister. Next presentation will be presented by Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal. Project Chief Mr. Praveshi Adhikari will give a presentation on airports of Nepal, Nisgat International Airport. Please welcome Mr. Adhikari.
Namaste and good afternoon. It's my pleasure to be here, a part of GICC 2022. I want to introduce myself. I represent Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal. I am myself Pravesh Adhikari. I completed my MTech from India and BSc in Civil Engineering from Nepal. I am working there as a civil engineer from last 9 years. Let me give some profile of Nepal. It is actually a landlocked country located in between India and China. The area is about 147,000 square kilometer and the population about 30 million. And the capital is in Kathmandu. Many caste and ethnic groups and 123 different languages are reported, and majority of the religion is Hindu. And this is the land of birthplace of Lord Buddha, and the topography is very various. The topography, you can see the world's deepest gorge, Kali Gandaki, to the highest point of the earth, that is Mount Everest, is located in Nepal. So you can see the map of Nepal, and in the bottom map, you can get the different spots. These are the actually location of the airports, and the east to west length is about 800 kilometer, and the north-south about 150 to 250 kilometer. Actually, the history of civil aviation in Nepal is only about 74 years, and the member of ICAO, the Nepal attended ICAO membership in 1960. And the airport is more than 50, airports are more than 50, and now operational airports are only 34. And about 19 airports are not in operation, as the country is having mountainous and hilly areas and plains. Okay, before any other mode of transportation, the only means of transportation was air transportation. So these airports were very useful for supplying foods and some other essential things. But after the construction of the highways, these airports are not using more in some of the area. And some of the airports are under construction. One is Stall Airport, along with Pokhara Regional International Airport and Nisgat International Airport, which is actually game changer project of the nation. And if you look at the history of civil aviation, in 74 years, the second international airport is now in operation, which is inaugurated from Right Honorable Prime Minister on 16th May 2022. And next airport, international airport, is also coming in near future. Probably the construction will be completed by the end of this year, and it will be operated early 2023. And we have the next project of Nisgat International Airport project, which is under study. This is the first international airport of the nation, Tribhuvan International Airport, and as I already mentioned, till 74 years we had only one international airport. Recently, we came into operation next international airport in the nation. So we have the upgradation program. This is the new terminal building that is under DPR stage in the Tribhuvan International Airport. This is the first international airport of the nation. We have different plan for the upgradation, end-to-end parallel taxiway along with the terminal building, and apron area is going to be constructed under this scope. The second international airport of the nation is Gautam Buddha International Airport, which is just now in operation. The existing airport was only domestic airport, and it is now upgraded into 4E category airport. The length of the runway is 3 kilometers, that is 4E category aircraft. And in the nation, in the Kathmandu Valley, due to the ball-shaped structure of the topography, it is impossible to install the instrument landing system in Kathmandu Valley. So in the country, the first time Gautam Buddha International Airport has the capacity of instrumental landing system. And I want to say here that Yushin Engineering Corporation Korea is the consultant for design and supervision, and Northwest Civil Aviation Airport Construction Group China is the main contractor for this project. And related to the communication and navigation part, Aerothai, Thai company Aerothai is a contractor. These are the completed view of airport. This is the second international airport, and this is only the alternative airport of the Kathmandu International Airport, and which is in commercial operation from 16th May 2022. And we have the master plan. We have updated the master plan, and we are planning to rehab the old runway, that is new parallel taxiway to the international standard, because it needs to be rehabilitated, because it was only 1500 meter length and designed for small aircraft. So we have that plan, and the terminal building is small compared to the other airside facilities. So we have already started the design of the new international terminal building, and this international terminal building will be automatically converted into domestic terminal. So we have the conversion plan for this project. These are the different options what we have chosen for the study, and we finalized the new international terminal building in this shape. So this project, I think within this fiscal year, this project, this tender will be started. These are the different views of the proposed international terminal building in Gautam Buddha International Airport. Okay, next international airport, that is actually regional international airport. We see this is 4D type of airport, and this is under construction under EPC model from China Exim Bank, and the contractor is Chinese, and local consultants are involving for the supervision stage, and it may have ILS system, and it is almost physical infrastructure is almost completed, and it will be completed by December 2022 and come into operation in early 2023. These are the different aerial views, runway and other facilities. These are the completed structures of the Pokhara Regional International Airport, and the Pokhara is actually a touristic destination of the nation. And the next planning is actually Nijgarh International Airport. This is we are thinking a game changer project of the nation. This is a national pride project, and in revised master plan phase, the land area is approx 8,000 hectare, and it will be constructed in 4F category. The capacity of the airport will be 150 million passengers per annum after the ultimate development of the project. It will have four parallel runways, each 4,500 meter length. This is the traffic forecast, what we are studying for the Nijgarh International Airport. We are planning the development of this airport in 5 phases. You can see in table the passenger forecast and the preliminary cost estimate, and what are the facilities are under study in this stage like that. In 2070 to 2080, it will be constructed in ultimate phase. This is the topography. This is the area of existing site scenario. East-West National Highway is towards the north, and one small village. And this is actually some forest area is also there, and both side river is there in both stream. And this preliminary study of this project was also performed from Yushin Engineering Corporation, Korea. But for the detailed review of this phase, some other consultant is now involving. These are the different views of the ultimate development of the project. From the bottom, it is in phase-wise. You can see the different view. Okay, thank you. So what I can say in sum is, this is the time for infrastructure development in the aviation industry in Nepal. I think from the Korea, okay, if any firm or construction firm or consulting firm is trying to involve in some other projects in Nepal, I may help them in best way what I can offer for them. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adhikari. Next presentation is from Tanzania Railways Corporation. Director General Masanja Kadogosa will give a presentation on the standard gauge railways. Please welcome Director General Masanja Kadogosa.
Thank you. Good afternoon again. Yeah, I'm introduced. My name is Masanja Kungu Kadogosa. I'm the Director General, Tanzania Railways Corporation. So I'll take through the, what we are working on the project. But I would like to to start with a little bit about the history of Tanzania Rail Corporation. We are more than 150 years ago, so we are a little bit an old railway. Those are our vision, our mission, our core mandate. That's a little bit of the history, going back more than 60 years ago or 70 years ago, but it goes a little bit more further than that. And before actually the port and the railway, the part the world I'm coming from used to be one organization. Then later we have this separation. There was a moment we have the same structure like here, that the infrastructure was controlled by a different entity, but owned by government 100%. Then we have operators. But somewhere, something happened, it didn't work. So we have to come back again for good reason. Back in 2017, as you see there. So I was trying to paint a picture when I was explaining, when I have opportunity to explain about the eco-friendly and PPP. That's our position, our country. You can look at it. So we are bordering with Zambia, more than 8 countries actually. So basically, by nature, we are a hub country. So if you look at it. So, and then on the other side, we are bordering with the Indian Ocean, where 100% of get your way to East and Central Africa from Asia, all the import is much more easier to go through Tanzania. So it becomes very important for us as a country to make sure that we have a very efficient, but also very efficient in terms of operation, but also in terms of cost. Because you could see those 8 countries depend on us for a big part of their needs. And that's the reason. So we have 3 corridors within the country. We have the central corridor, that is controlled by TRC. The northern corridor, let's go to the northern part of Tanzania. Kilimanjaro, if you have heard the Kilimanjaro, that's the northern part of Tanzania. Kilimanjaro, Arusha, probably some of you are aware about Serengeti, Ngorongoro. That's the northern part of Tanzania. But also we have the southern corridor. The southern corridor, this is for the Tazara. So we have 2 railways, two institutions in Tanzania. We have the one who control the northern and the central. That's the Tanzania Railways Corporation. I'm the Director General. But also we have the one which is on the southern corridor. That is controlled by Tazara. Tazara is owned by 2 countries, Zambia and Tanzania. So currently the development, and we have 2 gauges. Actually, we have 3 gauges. We have the meter gauge 1, which was constructed by German back in more than 100 years ago, and British. Then we have the Cape gauge 1, which I was talking about, owned by Zambia and Tanzania, was constructed by Chinese. Then we have the current one now, standard gauge, which the one now we are constructing. We'll start with the first phase, I will show you later. Now, that's the first phase. From Dar es Salaam, that's the port, Indian Ocean. It goes all the way to the western part of Tanzania. That link with our neighbor country, Uganda. It saves Uganda. But now for to develop, because this, as I said, this is a huge project, the standard gauge. It involves a lot of money. So to make sure that we are able to manage it in terms of implementation, but also in terms of funding, we thought that we should take it in phases or in lots. So we have the first lot coming from Dar es Salaam all the way to Mwanza, up there. That is around 1,230 kilometers. So we have three lots within the first phase. And the first phase, that is Dar es Salaam to Morogoro. That's part of the about 300 kilometers. We're almost done, the construction. Currently, we are in testing and commission. You will see later. But the second phase, the mid of Tanzania, is about 420 kilometers. That is almost 90% done. We're almost at the very, very last stage. But the one which is now under mobilization, but the contractors are already there, Makutupora, Tabora, Isaka. That's the names of part of the region in our country. You guys, I know you're not aware. But there's another one coming from Isaka. That's go away to a route away to Rwanda. That's when we almost around 12%. So the whole line is under construction. But that's the first phase. But we have the second phase. That goes to a little bit the far western part of Tanzania. That is mainly to link DRC Congo. Probably have hit DRC Congo. Some of you are aware about DRC Congo. But also Rwanda will link with Burundi. Why those countries? Because of a mineral. There's a huge minerals in DRC, and the only way they can be able to mine and make more economical sense, we need to have a railway, efficient railway. Because this is only railway can cut down costs, transport costs, or logistics costs, if you like, maybe by 40 or 30%. But those are the other phases. But those phases mainly to link with our neighbor country. Now, those are the designing parameters. Maybe the most important thing is to explain why 35 X-road, but that's a very heavy railway. The reason for 35 X-roads, for the railway guys, I know we have Korean National Railway here. They know what does it mean X-road. X-road is how heavier the railway can be able to carry. So if you multiply by 4, so you're talking about it can go one freight wagon can go up to 120 tonnage. So if you take out the tail weight, so it can go up to 100 tonnage for one wagon. Most of the railway really is around 18 to 25, most of the country. 18 to 25. So now why 35 X-road? Because it's a mining railway. Our thinking is a mining railway. Because of the DLRC, but also within the country we have a lot of minings. So that is our focus. Other parameter you could see, I think is much more familiar. The technology we are using, that's the technology when you are talking about the signaling. It's a high tech. We are talking about merging the technology, leveraging the technology in our infrastructure. Because that's the only way you can be able to change from the way we used to be, the way which were developed in the 70s or 60s or 50s, and what is really the new development, the technology. That's what makes a difference. Now, those are different stages of construction. Now, as I said, the investment so far is around 7.7 billion. That's a huge investment. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's here in South Korea or you go to America, that's a very huge investment. And that makes much more important we as a country to think about sustainability. I was saying something about the uniqueness of Tanzania. Almost 50% of our country is national park. So you cannot really travel more than 100 or 200 to 300 kilometers without passing through national park. So even the construction become a little bit tricky because, you know, if you have a train which is going at the speed of 160, then if you are not taking into consideration about the eco-environment, then you're in trouble. Because obviously, you are likely to find that elephants, probably some of you are aware about elephants. Whenever they pass, they just go. They don't go, you know, other way around. So which means our construction, you have to think about the wild animal, where they pass. Either we put a fencing, making sure that we direct them where they have to go through. But also, as I said, the area size of our country is a little bit bigger. You know, we are talking about as good as the size of California. So approximately to 1 million square kilometer, which is huge. So it's not like, so you are likely to, you know, from Dar es Salaam, where I shown you, up to the end, you might be crossing more than 1,000 kilometers. So the question of flood become very, 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 very concerning. So even as I said, even the construction, you have to have this in your mind. Those are the areas of, you know, of development. I don't think if I need to go through it. But let me just come back a little bit. I was talking about the involvement of private sector. Some of the railway, basically, we want to involve private sector. Why? Because some of the railways are going straight to the mining. So it's much more easier to be able to bring together the private sector on the mining part and the rail side. because you have already off-takers, it's much more easier to package in terms of funding. You know, if you have the off-takers who are the mining guys, it's much more easier to build that railway. So those areas, really, we want to involve 100% private sector because it's, you know, it's much more attractive because private sector, obviously, they're looking to make money. But like for the development of the central one, it's a kind of mix-up. We are debt, but also the equity part of it. You know, the government's put some money to make it more attractive. And those are the areas I'm talking about. You know, we have some part of the other part is iron ore, we have nickels. Those are the areas where the railway is passing through, and we think those areas, it's much more easier to attract private sector to be involved. And they're huge, huge depots, you know. Like for the Msongati one in Burundi, for nickel, it's among of the 20 in the world big depots. Among of the 10 actually, not the 20, 10. So and we think those areas are much more easier to be able to attract private sector involvement. Okay, those are the development. I said the first phase is almost done. You could see the development. You will see in the picture because we have a video. This is Dar es Salaam, by the way. Okay. For those who have never been in Dar es Salaam, that's how it looks like. So can we play the video? Just a 5 minutes in the video before I can finish. Thank you. Those are the architecture for the stations. Okay, just a moment. This is very important. You see, we already started the procurement, and out of 5, actually 3 are coming from Korea. So we are talking about Sunshine Rolling Stock. I think they are going to have a presentation tomorrow. Are the one who are supplying their passenger coaches. Hyundai Lotam, they're the one who are supplying the electrical locomotives. Hyundai Lotam, the one who are supplying the electrical motor units. And we have others coming from China, and then from Germany. But also for the supervision for this construction massive project is done by Korea, from Korea. But also the capacity building on the operating side. Why we have to choose Korea? Because after having some research, I think we came to the conclusion that when it comes to customer service, in terms of safety, but also punctuality, we thought that Korea, they are much more among of the best in the world, if I'm not mistaken. Those are locomotives we come from Korea. Okay, let's now, thank you. Let's play the video now, just 5 minutes.
Nyumbani kwetu tumepewa na Mungu, fahari yetu, hazina yetu, tumejengwa kindugu, utu wetu, lugha yetu, alama za tunu zetu, ardhi yetu, urithi wetu, tumeshaionja Tanzania ya leo, tumekula vya kwake, tumekunywa vya kwake. Tanzania ya jana ilitengenezwa na wajana, tumeifaidi leo kwa kazi waliofanya. Tuwatengeneze wale wajao, waikute iko salama. Tanzania ya neema, Tanzania yangu, nakupenda, nakuombea.
Akulinde,
Mola, akulinde, alinde mipaka yako,
akulinde, Mola,
linde anga lako, ardhi yako, Mola. Nachoipa fahari nchi yetu, sio pekee milima, mbuga na wanyama, bali mioyo inayoona fahari ya kuitwa Mtanzania mzalendo. Inachoipa ukubwa nchi yetu, si mipaka pekee wala wingi wa watu, ila ni moyo wa kukubali kufa kwa kupigania maslahi yake. Mola akulinde, Tanzania yangu, akulinde Mola, Mola akulinde, alinde watoto wako wote. Mola, Mola akutunze, yeah, 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 yeah. Mola akutendee mema, ulinde nchi yangu. Mola, kumbuka damu na machozi ya waliotuwekea misingi, damu yao na machozi kawe mtuba ya kusitawisha vizazi vijavyo. Ardhi yetu tuipandapo mbegu, ikatupe chakula cha kutosha, ikawakatae wanaotaka vurugu, ili nchi yetu idumu milele. Mola akulinde Tanzania, oh, oh, akulinde Mola akulinde, sipatwe na mabaya na magonjwa na ajali.
acha kazi endelee.
Okay, thank you. It was a little bit a long one, but you are really welcome to Tanzania. As I said, we are open to private sector participation. We have a lot of going on in Tanzania now, and thank you for Korea government actually, not Korea, for the partnership. We've been working now for more than, since I came to the railway, for more than 7 years. But also we are welcoming other partners, you know, to make things to happen. But it's an exciting time for me, as Director General, to be part of this big story in my country. Thank you.
Thank you, Director General, for very interesting presentation and the wonderful video. Next presentation will be from the Ministry of Municipality of Qatar, Director of Infrastructure Planning, Mr. Ibrahim Abbas, will give a presentation on infrastructure projects in Qatari housing. Please welcome Engineer Director Ibrahim Abbas.
Bismillah. Thank you very much. I want to thank Ministry of Land and Infrastructure and Transportation and the organization and the organizer of this event for the invitation. Today I will speak about the Qatari citizen housing and system and the project related to it. It will be quick and short presentation. First, we'll talk about history. Actually, it started early in 1964. There's a legislation been issued at that time, and it covered only the low-income employees, government servant, and who's under the social security system. Later in 1977, another law issued for senior staff who's working for Qatari government. And it was about giving a land and giving a loan. After that, in 2007, another law being issued, and this one covered all the citizens which not being covered by previous law. Actually, the housing system in Qatar depends on giving the land to the citizen and giving the loan. And usually the piece of land is 1,000 square meter in area. And the loan is enough to build a house on it. Let's go now for the projects related to the housing in Qatar. A program in 2012 for infrastructure to serve the housing plots for Qatari being signed by, there's a memorandum of understanding signed between Public Work Authority and Ministry of Municipality to serve the public housing with a full infrastructure. This program actually extended until 2040, as we'll see later on. But in the last 5 years, nearly 14,000 of plots been distributed, which worth nearly 45 billion Qatari riyals in value. With the budget estimated nearly 65 billion, the program of the Public Work Authority will continue until 2040. And this will serve nearly 70,000 plots. We are talking here about 70,000 families. In the coming 5 years, according to the program, there will be nearly 20,000 plots and housing will be built, and it will be, the budget of that project will be around 20 billion riyals. And this actually, this program is continuing. This now, it's until 2040, but housing, it will be continuing, and the program will be extended more than that. Usually in Qatar, the infrastructure is for housing, as you're seeing here, is a typical cross sections for 20-meter corridors, showing how we actually connecting the housing with all these surfaces. Definitely, this kind of projects in Qatar, it's not, we are not aiming for getting investor, but for sure, we're aiming to have a good contractors. Thank you very much for listening.
Mr. Chua Chong Keng of Land Transport Authority of Singapore. He will give a presentation on Singapore's land transport system. Please welcome Mr. Chua Chong Keng.
distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. 안녕하세요. And thank you for the warm introduction. Let me begin by congratulating MOLIT and the ICAK on this 10th anniversary of the Global Infrastructure Cooperation Conference, and I'm honored to be able to join in the conference. Over the last decade, the GICC has successfully brought together this international community to cooperate and collaborate on infrastructure development. Today in Singapore, we have many strategic partners and friends from Korea who have significantly contributed to our public infrastructure. This is indeed a very special year because we are finally gathered in person after 2 years of virtual conferences. Thank you for inviting me to share with you Singapore's land transport and the opportunities and possibilities for us to work together in the coming decades. Singapore's third land transport master plan, we call it LTMP 2040 in short, was launched 3 years ago in May 2019. This master plan lays out Singapore's long-term plans to build a land transport system that is convenient, well-connected, inclusive, and fast, meeting the needs and aspirations of Singaporeans over the next 2 decades and beyond. One of the key themes in the LTMP 2040 is the 20-minute town and 45-minute city. The aim is for every journey between the home to the nearest neighborhood center to take no more than 20 minutes, and for up to 90% of journeys from home to the place of work to be within 45 minutes, either by walking, cycling, or riding on the public transport. To achieve this aim, we are looking to further expand our rail network, beginning with a feasibility study for a potential new line that will connect the north and northeastern regions of Singapore to the greater southern waterfront. This is the one marked in a red. Should this plan come to fruition, together with the extensions of the Thomson East Coast Line and the Downtown Line Stage 2, and also the new Cross Island Line, Singapore's total rail network will be almost 400 kilometers by the year 2040. 400 kilometers, and this is talking about a land area of 725 square kilometers. Singapore's railway network is the backbone of our public transport system. Today, we have more than 130 stations across 6 MRT lines spanning the island with a daily ridership of over 3 million. Since 2013, our rail network has grown from 182 kilometers to 245 kilometers with the completion of the Downtown Line and stages 1 and 2 of the Thomson East Coast Line. By year 2030, we will see the completion of stages 3, 4, and 5 of the Thomson East Coast Line, Jurong Region Line, and also Cross Island Line, Phase 1. Extended the existing North-East Line and Downtown Lines, as well as close the loop for the Circle Line. So it's very exciting times ahead. We're working simultaneously at 4 or 5 major projects. And all this will allow us to reach and create a comprehensive rail network spanning 360 kilometers. By that time, we will have achieved 80% of our households to be within a 10-minute walk to an MRT or LRT station. And we would have also achieved a modal split of 75% of our journeys during morning peak by public transport, against 25% by private transport. This is a very important consideration because Singapore has already controlled the vehicle population to zero growth. So there's no more growth in private vehicles. So we will have to rely on public transport. Besides expanding the rail network, we are looking to enhance our roads and commuter facilities. The North-South corridor, which you see, is originally, or was originally conceived to be an expressway connecting the towns in the north to the city center in the south. But it has since been redesigned to also enable cycling and walking. We call this a transit priority corridor. And by doing so, we make this corridor a more inclusive transport mode. The 21.5 kilometer north-south corridor will be Singapore's first integrated transport corridor featuring continuous bus lanes and cycling trunk routes, and reduce the traveling time from the north to the city by up to 30 minutes. Singapore will continue to invest in public transport, harness the use of technology and innovation to make our journeys more seamless and convenient for everyone. Singapore and Korea, or Republic of Korea, have always had strong trade links. Our relations are underpinned by close economic ties, with bilateral trade in 2021 amounting to Singapore dollars 56.2 billion, making the Republic of Korea Singapore's 8th largest trading partner. Over the past 3 years, both countries also cooperated very closely to deal with the challenges of COVID-19. A reciprocal Green Lane arrangement was established in September 2020 to facilitate essential business and official travel between the two sides. Since 2007, we have seen a growing number of construction companies from the Republic of Korea involved in several key transport infrastructure projects in Singapore. This is a reflection of the strong ties that we enjoy with the Republic of Korea. Over the last 15 years, Korean construction companies have been awarded land transport infrastructure contracts with an estimated total value of Singapore dollars 16 billion. I'll use my next few slides to illustrate how our Korean contractors have contributed to Singapore's rail and road networks. First, on our Thomson East Coast Line, which will be completed fully in the next 5 years, Korean contractors successfully tendered for 9 major civil contracts. On the North-South Corridor project, we have once again been able to count on our Korean builders, who have won the tenders for 7 out of 13 NSC contracts. In our more recent years, we have awarded a further 2 major civil contracts on the Jurong Region Line to Korean contractors, and 4 contracts on the Cross Island Line Phase 1. We will be calling tenders for our Cross Island Line Phase 2 in the second half of this year. In 2020, GS Engineering was awarded a contract to design and build Singapore's flagship Integrated Train Testing Center, ITTC in short. The ITTC, which is the first of its kind in Southeast Asia, will be equipped to test rail systems, not just trains, but also rail systems around the clock without disrupting passenger services. This frees up the limited engineering hours on the existing lines for other activities such as maintenance and renewal works. When completed in 2024, the ITTC will be the cornerstone of Singapore's strategy to sustain rail reliability and deepen our core rail engineering capabilities. Our relationship with Korea has grown from strength to strength over the years. Some of you may remember that LTA actually visited Seoul in 2008 and 2013 to invite Korean construction companies to participate in the implementation of Singapore's Land Transport Master Plan. In 2013, senior management from various Singapore construction companies involved in LTA projects joined us in Seoul to seek potential partnerships with Seoul Korean companies. The outcome of the trips have seen several successful joint ventures between Korea and Singapore's main contractors, bidding and being awarded some of our land transport infrastructure projects. Our visit to Korea this time allows us also to call on the headquarters of many of these Korean contractors to renew our working ties and to seek their continued support on our upcoming pipeline of projects. In addition, there's been an increasing number of Korean specialist contractors, such as LT Sambo, Dongga Geological Engineering Private Limited, Taksu Engineering and Construction Limited, who have become involved as specialist subcontractors for works such as the diaphragm wall construction and ground improvement on some of our infrastructure projects. This year, we will once again engage Korean specialist subcontractors to invite them to participate in our upcoming pipeline of projects. We hope that this will pave the way for newer specialist contractors to expand their businesses into Singapore, following the footsteps of Sambo, Dongga, and Taksu. In particular, I want to highlight a very simple and faceless construction method for one of the tunnel construction. And Taksu's specialist skills have gone beyond diaphragm wall and board piling works, and they now also have the capability and experience to carry out this innovative trenchless tunneling, which is being explored for adoption on our projects. The involvement of Korean companies has not been limited to civil infrastructure projects. In recent years, they've also participated in our electrical and mechanical services and rolling stock tenders. One good recent example of a Korean company who participated in the electrical and mechanical services for our projects is the partnership between Shinsong E&G Company Limited and our local contractors for the fixed water-based firefighting system for our North-South corridor. In addition, in relation to our rail core systems, Korean contractors have also been involved. For example, LS Electric Company has partnered our local contractor, Guthrie, for the power supply system on stages 4 and 5 of the Thomson East Coast Line. And more recently, Hyundai Rotem Company was awarded the contract for the supply of trains on the Jurong Region Line. As we move towards realizing our goal in LTMP 2040, in addition to civil infrastructure builders, we will continue to require the services of specialist vendors for E&M, or electrical and mechanical services, as well as things like lifts and escalators. With the upcoming rail and road projects, which I will share with you, the tenders will be called over the next few years. We warmly welcome Korean companies' continued interest in Singapore's land transport sector and participation in tendering for all our projects. As we look into the future of Singapore's land transport infrastructure, we have estimated about $30 billion worth of contracts to be awarded over these 3 years. The potential for greater collaboration with Korean firms presents itself in the form of Singapore's areas of need for specialized civil engineering skills and in the electrical and mechanical domains. Here is an overview of the rail and road projects that we'll be calling in the next few years. I will provide more details in the subsequent slides. For the Cross Island Line Punggol extension, this will be a 7.3-kilometer extension, which will be fully underground, comprising 4 stations, and 3 out of the 4 stations are interchange stations, where the management of affected stakeholders along the alignment will be critical as commuters change from one line to another. For Cross Island Line Phase 2, tender calling will start in the 4th quarter of 2022. A key section will be tunneling at 70 meters below the Central Catchment Nature Reserve, or CCNR in short. So this includes a combination of underground stations, complex board tunneling, and cut and cover tunnel construction. And there will also be addition and alteration works, or what we call A&A works, to the interchange stations. Tender calling will be in the second half of 2022. For Phase 3, advanced engineering studies for the main line and the depot were called last year to determine the alignment. The estimated length is about 7 kilometers, and we will be calling the tenders for this in the near future. Next, the Thomson East Coast Line will be extended from Sungai Bedok which is currently the last station on the Thomson East Line, to Changi Airport Station, thereby linking the new Changi Airport Terminal 5, which was recently announced by our minister, with the existing Terminals 1, 2, and 3 at the existing Changi Airport Station. So now all the airport terminals, the key ones, will be linked by the MRT, which will provide a one-stop service all the way to downtown. We are planning to add a new station to the north-south line called Brickland Station, NS Brickland Station. This is located between Choa Chu Kang and Bukit Gombak stations. And part of the challenge for this contract is the A&A works, addition and alteration works required to the existing stations, which is at Choa Chu Kang. The tentative main civil tender will be called in the second quarter next year. LTA will also be extending the current downtown line, which is the one in dotted blue, from Bukit Panjang to Sungai Kadut Station on the north-south line. And this will be linked through a track extension from the last station called Bukit Panjang MRT Station. This station will serve the future developments in the industrial area. Estimated length is about 5 kilometers. This will be a design and build construction tender that we target to call end of next year. On the road side, there's a major project called the Changi Southern Road Corridor, which will involve road enhancements to our key expressways, the Pan Island Expressway and the East Coast Parkway and the Tanah Merah Coastal Road. It's going to be a lot of major works going on, and we will be also calling tenders for those projects. So in closing, I've shared with you the different projects that are ongoing, and there are a lot of info. If you go to Singapore, I just remarked to my Korean colleague just now that you're actually coming to see the construction site, because a lot of construction is going on. So the best thing for you to see is actually to go down to Singapore to see for yourself. Therefore, I would like to share with you about the Singapore International Transport Congress and Exhibition, which Singapore LTA organized together with the UITP. This will be held from 2nd to the 4th of November in Singapore this year. This is a once in every 2-year event, and it's jointly organized by UITP, the LTA, and MSI Global, which is a subsidiary of LTA. And in this Congress, we will have each topics relating to urban mobility technologies, planning, systems and solutions, and bring together urban mobility planners, operators, service providers, innovators, startups, and researchers to shape the future of urban mobility landscape. With the opening of our borders, all fully vaccinated travelers from any country or region can enjoy quarantine-free travel protocols while entering to Singapore with no requirement for COVID-19 tests. Registration is open, and you can find more details about SITC if you're interested in tomorrow's projects, one-on-one meeting. Maybe at this point, I would like to just give a very quick, short video on the conference. Okay, on this note, I would like to thank the organizers once again for the opportunity to share our land transport developments. And I'd like here to wish MOLIT and ICAK every success for GICC 2022. Kamsahamnida. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chua. I hope that many specialists and general contractors of Korea are interested in the LTA projects, and also please have check out the SITCE 2022. Our next presentation is prepared by the Etihad Rail UAE Executive Director Joao Arpiarca will give a presentation on the theme of UAE Rail Network. Please welcome Mr. Alpiarca.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure, and on behalf of Etihad Rail, our pleasure to be here and have the opportunity to showcase the development of our project and the next steps that we'll be implementing in the coming years. So Etihad Rail was established in 2009 with the goal to develop and operate the national railway of the UAE. Our goal is to connect major cities, major industries, and major ports of the UAE, and make integration with the GCC railway network. And with the final goal of create new trades and travel corridors and to enhance the transport of goods and people. So since 2009 that we've been developing our freight corridor that is divided in 3 stages. Stage 1 was completed in 2015 and is in operation since then, and already transported 45 million tons of sulfur. We are now developing stage 2 that connects the Saudi Arabia border to Fujairah in the Indian Ocean and integrates what was the stage 1. So this project is currently under development. We have achieved a conclusion rate of 85%, which means that we have already exhausted a capex of $4.3 billion. We have established partnerships with 11 different contractors from all around the world, including South Korea. And we had at the peak moment 27,000 workers on our sites. We have completed more than 100 million working hours, moved more than 120 million cubic meters of earthworks, and finished more than 430 bridges. Currently, at the time as this presentation was ready, we're almost reaching 500 kilometers of track length from a total of 600. And at the end of this stage 2, that we expect to be operational on the second quarter of 2023, we'll be having a network with 1,200 kilometers of track installed, running on a signaling system of ERTMS level 2, standard gauge, and designed for freight speeds of 120 and passenger of 200 kilometers per hour. So as you can see on the donuts on this slide, we are increasing our network from 265 kilometers of stage 1 to roughly 870 with this stage 2. We expect to transport 61 million tons per year, increasing the daily trips to 40. And this all due to also our new fleet. We have acquired 38 new locomotives, increasing the fleet to 48, 1,170 wagons. We'll having 2 depots and a OCC in each depot. Some pictures of the milestones that we have achieved since the beginning of this stage 2. In 2018, we are having the network, the master plan approved. Next year, we were starting signing the first contracts, and 1 year after, we were on the ground starting the construction. Last year, the year started with the beginning of the track works, and mid of the year, we are receiving already our first locomotive. By the end of the year, we finished all the tunnels in the Ajar Mountains, and beginning of this year, we were connecting the Saudi Arabia border, crossing all the Emirate of Abu Dhabi and the Emirate of Dubai and reaching Sharjah, and we are currently finishing the final stretch of our stage 2 alignment, which is crossing the Ajar Mountains and reaching the port of Fujairah we expect to do in the coming months, and all this to have the line operational and commercial service by the second quarter of next year. So the main achievements in these 4 years of development was to be able to complete all the designs in time. All the land was acquired by Etihad Rail to ensure that works proceeded on site without any impact. We awarded all the contracts for the implementation of this stage 2 on a total volume of almost $5 billion, and established during this period strategic partnerships with several stakeholders that will use our railway line to transport their materials and their goods, and with this make the project viable. This is what we have been done so far, what we are achieving, and also to let you know that this is not the end of the Etihad Rail projects. we are moving forward. There's a lot of new projects coming up on the pipeline. And just to let you know that stage 3, we are starting with stage 3 of our freight network. We expect to go to the ground next year to finish it in 2027. The first 2 connections is the Al-Ain connection. Second one is Korfakan port that we will also be executing. And also we plan to execute connections to Ras Al Khaimah and other industrial areas and ports in the UAE. But also as exciting as finishing stage 2 is our new passengers line that we are starting at the beginning of the coming year. We already signed the contract of the rolling stock with CAF, and we are using basically what was stage 2 as the backbone of our network to implement passenger service. So we'll be having 11 stations. Our trains will run 365 days a year, and each train will transport, will have a capacity of 400 seats. Going back to what I presented you on the first map, so we'll be creating these 11 stations. New branches will be built to enter the city of Abu Dhabi, city of Dubai, and also Sharjah. And this railway line will be able to take trains running at 200 kilometers per hour. And with this, I conclude my short presentation on what will be our coming projects. Thank you.
Next presentation is from the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure of UAE. Engineer Saif Gubash will give a presentation on UAE National Smart Mobility Strategy implementation. Please welcome Director of Land Transport Affairs, Mr. Gubash.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's such a pleasure to be here in this conference representing our latest strategy in the Ministry of Energy and Infrastructure, which is focusing on the smart mobility strategy implementation. Before going deep into the strategy, I would just like to share on what happened back in July 2020. The Ministry of Energy and Ministry of Infrastructure has merged together, creating a more agile and responsive government in many sectors like the energy and water resources, roads and utilities, housing and construction, and sustainable investment. This was at the beginning a big challenge, but going through the years, it only made sense because all these pillars and all these sectors work together under the infrastructure, which made implementing such projects such an ease of implementation. Several initiatives have created momentum around the transportation in the UAE. After the merge, there was a big announcement of the Housing and Infrastructure Council. Being a federal country, having 7 different emirates, sometimes the priorities are different, but having a council led by His Excellency the Minister and representative of each emirate made the implementation more focused and the execution much smoother. Also, not to forget to mention that there was an announcement last year of the Net Zero 2050 ambition by energy sector to have different sectors. Part of them is utilities and also mobility and transportation sector. The transportation ecosystem is facing gaps. When we've studied around the United Arab Emirates, we've noticed that we still have a long way when it came to regulations and maybe infrastructure, digital solutions. So we've identified a couple of the key challenges, which is the lack of mobility integration between different cities, probably some to come with the green mobility options, and the focus on national level mobility, and also the digitization of the infrastructure. So back in March 2022, which is very recent, we had the biggest workshop on the country level, having more than 80 participants from 25 different local authorities to sit together, discuss the challenges, and come up with projects and initiatives. Some of the stakeholders are from the ministers or ministries. Some are mainly transport authorities and other institutions. Let's not forget, or just to let you know, that the UAE is working on the 2071 Centennial Plan, which concentrate on 4 main pillars, which are the future-focused government, excellence in education or excellent in education, diversification of knowledge economy, and cohesive, happy and cohesive society. These strategies all work together and in trying to achieve the vision of 2071. So the smart mobility strategy is a strategy that we've launched back in 2021 on 2 phases. The first phase is to define the vision and mission of the strategy, which is by 2030, the United Arab Emirates will be among the world-leading countries in smart intermodal mobility. So by setting the vision, we have worked on 3 main pillars, or the vision stands on 4 main programs, which is connected, autonomous, shared, and sustainable. The 3 main pillars are compatible infrastructure, integrated mobility systems, and dynamic policies and regulations, which also stands on 3 main enablers, which are governed collaboration, inspired capabilities, and comprehensive transformation. So how can we do that in achieving that? So we've focused on working on 5 smart mobility programs, which is the Mobility Innovation Hub, which means that we want to position UAE as a global center of excellence for smart mobility by collaborating with other different innovation hubs. Intelligent and mobility big data, which is enabling the data-driven decision-making as mobility innovation. The autonomous mobility rollout, which is discuss how to enable the autonomous by having the right policies and regulation. The 4th one is the green mobility, is how to foster the adoption of green alternatives for enabling smart mobility. And the last one is the intermodal connectivity, is to develop a seamless and integrated network. So what does that entail? So the Mobility Innovation Hub is to position the UAE and foster it as a think tank. We know that the smart mobility, once we want to define it, it defines differently from a country to a country. So we wanted to have a think tank that comes and sit together and address the challenges and come up with different projects and initiatives. So if you see down below that we do have a sort of a milestones on what sort of initiatives that will enable us to achieve the Innovation Hub. So we already about to sign 3 different MOUs with different mobility hubs in Europe and in the States. We're looking very much forward to do something similar with Korea. By that, then we will have innovation labs, and then probably city collaborations, and eventually have the very first Smart Mobility Congress. When it comes to the other initiative, which is the Intelligent Mobility and Big Data, is to have an insight on the mobility data platform, and then how to enable the AI technology, and then work on a big data platform between different emirates and probably later on in the region. The third one is the autonomous mobility rollout, is to establish leadership in autonomous mobility. We already started on working on the policy and regulation, and probably more to say it's a guideline on how the HD maps framework, and then we will work on a corridor that is a connected and autonomous vehicle corridor that will allow us to, a physical one that will allow us to do some testing on the latest technology when it comes to autonomous, and then we will work on how to regulate it, and then how to connect it through cloud systems, and eventually have autonomous drones and flying taxis and autonomous and advanced air mobility. The fourth one is the green mobility. We are finalizing almost the requirements to have a green mobility week, which will allow us to increase the awareness and adoption of green mobility. Later on, we are working on a strategy of the EV charging stations, and we will dig deep into getting more projects out of that. And then later, with other projects and initiatives that's happening in the country, we'll also work on the wireless charging highways. The last one is the intermodal connectivity program, which is to develop a seamless and integrated door-to-door transport. We are about to launch the on-demand buses that are intercity, which is at the moment lacking between different cities. Later on, based on the National Integrated Mobility Program, the Integrated Transportation Master Plan, we will have more in details the national ride sharing network through different application, and even unifying the ticketing system. So these are the top 5 that we are working on at the moment, which you will see highlighted in blue down below, but these are only 5 out of almost 100 initiatives that we came up with in the workshop that I've mentioned earlier. All falls under the 5 programs, which is the Mobility Innovation Hub, the Big Data Program, the Autonomous Rollout, the Green Mobility and Intermodal Connectivity Program. A couple of these were worked or nominated by the Prime Minister Office in the UAE to push in implementing these and helping us, allocating certain budgets to accelerate these programs. So these are just, the stakeholders. We have organizations, ministries, mobility authorities, municipalities, and urban planning departments. We have also the tech players. We have the private partners, which is a big role to implement these projects. And also we did not forget to include the civil society. So this brings me up to my final slide, which is what are the potential areas we are aiming for in collaboration with the Republic of Korea. Is we can collaborate on the autonomous vehicles program and technology. We can play a big role in collaborating in the future mobility think tank, electrification and green mobility, improving passenger and traveler experience, and integrated and intermodality. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Director. Our last presentation is prepared by the Ministry of Transport and Communication of Peru. Executive Director Rufino Galindo will give a presentation on rail projects in Peru. Please welcome Mr. Rufino Galindo.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Quiero en primer lugar traer el saludo del excelentísimo presidente del Perú, Pedro Castillo Terrones, también el saludo del ministro de Transportes y Comunicaciones, Jainer Alvarado López, asimismo del viceministro de Transportes, Luis Rivera Pérez. Esta tarde, el saludo a la organización por tan amante evento que esta tarde nos depara. Voy a exponerles a ustedes lo que es la visión futura de lo que en ferrocarriles respecta al Perú. En este caso, tenemos nosotros, además de la gestión vial terrestre por carretera, el propósito de introducir el avance en lo que es la vía férrea, tanto en la forma longitudinal, como se ubica el Perú de norte a sur, como también en la forma transversal de este a oeste. Poner en relieve estas medidas que viene adoptando el Perú para lograr un desarrollo ferroviario no solamente sustentable, sino también sostenible, con miras a la Agenda 2030 con visión 2050. El marco de este propósito es acortar esa brecha, esa diferencia que existe entre el transporte terrestre con el fin de establecer un real ejercicio de la red multimodal que sirva y empuje el desarrollo de nuestra nación. Tenemos antecedentes en lo que es la vía férrea desde muchos años atrás, que se ha venido quedando en el tiempo, pero queremos retomarlo, con un relieve en el territorio, con ferrocarriles que formen un sistema ferroviario nacional, como dije, tanto transversal como longitudinal. Las principales acciones para impulsar un desarrollo ferroviario con proyectos que estén provistos por el Ministerio de Transportes y Comunicaciones como ente gestor. En los antecedentes en el Perú tenemos como una data de 172 años a la fecha. En primera, la vía férrea fue construida en 1850 entre Lima y el puerto de Callao, con una longitud de 14 kilómetros. En el año 56 se puso en servicio el ferrocarril Tacna-Arica, que constituye el ferrocarril más antiguo de Perú que contiene la operación hasta ahora. Posteriormente, tenemos el fortalecimiento del ferrocarril de Perú, luego a contar con poco más de 4.000 kilómetros de líneas férreas, que están desapareciendo en la medida que la carretera cobra auge, quedando reducido este sistema en 1.940 kilómetros actualmente. El territorio del Perú, me lo dije, tiene una extensión de 1.280.000 kilómetros cuadrados, cuenta con regiones naturales muy distinguidas entre la costa, la sierra y la selva, con una topografía ambientales y recursos naturales muy marcados. En este marco va a desarrollarse una construcción de nuevos ferrocarriles que requiere nuestra nación del Perú. En la costa tenemos 17 millones de habitantes, que equivalen a un 58% a la población total de Perú. Asimismo, cuenta con productos de pesca marítima, agricultura tecnificada e industrias variadas. En la sierra se caracteriza esta geografía, que es muy montañosa, muy agreste, conformada por cordillera de los Andes, normalmente, de norte a sur, combinada con altiplanos, planicies, valles interandinos, con una población de 8 millones de habitantes, que representa el 28% de la población peruana. Generalmente cuenta con recursos provenientes de la agricultura, predomina mucho la artesanía, la minería, entre muchos metales como el cobre, la plata, litio, oro y otros. En la selva está entre 500 a 2.000 metros sobre el nivel del mar la selva alta, una topografía meridianamente inclinada y escalonada, escarpada, es decir, con valles localizados en vegetación bastante arbustiva, unos 500 metros sobre del mar a menos, constituye la llanura amazónica, con una selva densa y grandes ríos. Cuenta además con unos 333.000 habitantes, que equivale al 14% de la población peruana. Principalmente tiene recursos madereros y minerales que discurren generalmente por los ríos. En cuanto al transporte, más de 153 millones de pasajeros por kilómetro y más de 1.549 millones de toneladas en el año 2019 se vino tabulando. En gran parte está concesionada con 1.479 kilómetros y no constituye esta concesión, lo sigue trabajando el Ministerio con 189 kilómetros. Entre ellos tenemos el ferrocarril del centro con 489 kilómetros, el ferrocarril de Huancayo-Huancavelica con 128 kilómetros, el ferrocarril del sur con 855 kilómetros, el suroriente con 134 y el que les mencioné, el más antiguo, de Tacna-Arica con 60 kilómetros. Entre lo que destaca 139 kilómetros del área privada, ¿no?, que son generalmente de minería, de Southern Corporation 217, Santa Clara, Cajamarquilla con 7 kilómetros y la que es Condrococha con 13 kilómetros. Como verán, estos principales elementos vienen a formar parte de lo que es la parte ferroviaria. Para el Perú, formar cuadros profesionales especializados en transporte ferroviario, acudiendo a la asistencia técnica de países desarrollados en el transporte de esta naturaleza, ya buscando ya sea tecnificaciones profesionales, especializaciones relacionadas al tema y los compromisos que transmitan y transfieran conocimiento a través de la academia o de la institucionalización o del empresariado privado. También es permisible en este afán reforzar las normas técnicas ferroviarias que sean propicias y tengan una característica y exigencias con lo que es en la ferroviaria actual en el Perú y lo que se desarrolla en el mundo, acudiendo para ello a buscar asistencia técnica de otros países que han venido con lecciones aprendidas y aplicaciones de las mejores prácticas de los estándares del transporte ferroviario y mantener una continuidad y una mejora en el tiempo. En ese entonces se hizo algunos reglamentos, normas, tantas especializadas como estándares y manuales de diseño para tener esta gestión, entre otros como el Plan Nacional de Desarrollo Ferroviario. También elaborar un plan de desarrollo ferroviario que provea en estricto un crecimiento del sistema a nivel nacional bajo criterios y estándares actualizados de tecnología vigente y se asignen a este ferrocarril un empleo nacional para un transporte multimodal. En este objetivo, establecer lineamientos de política y estrategia de desarrollo del sistema ferroviario nacional, además de establecer un plan por el Ministerio de Transportes y Comunicaciones en base a una consultoría financiada con el Banco de Desarrollo Interamericano, de América Latina. Esto buscando estrategias y alianzas para ir fortaleciendo lo que sería el diseño para grandes líneas, como estamos pensando de norte a sur, o las transversales, como ya he mencionado, aprovechando también la instalación de nuevos puertos gigantes, como tenemos en la costa, y hacer un transporte ferroviario transversal, es decir, a lo largo del oeste y el este de Perú. Actualizar esta normalización considera actualizar vías férreas, nuevas disposiciones administrativas relacionadas al transporte, así como de la reformulación de su estructura en el enfoque para disponer secciones distintas en temas de carácter eminentemente técnico y actualizadas siempre que sea necesario, y siempre lo va a hacer en el transcurso del tiempo. Establecer condiciones organizativas de una óptima condición de gestión, de una red existente y planificar y gestionar los proyectos ferroviarios que sean necesarios hasta su puesta en marcha y o concesión o administración privada. Adoptar tecnologías modernas en el campo ferroviario es un especial componente con respecto al empleo del hidrógeno verde en el corto o mediano plazo y en el marco de la preservación del medio ambiente. Dije antes, desarrollo sustentable y sostenible con una visión futura. Es decir, minimizar la contaminación por gases de emisiones, así como por las posibles limitaciones que generarían de electricidad por medio de hidráulicos. Los proyectos que tenemos actualmente es en el puerto de Salaberry, Cajamarca-Celentín, con una longitud de 460 kilómetros para el transporte de minerales del departamento de Cajamarca y aledaños que requiere un estudio definitivo. Otro tenemos el San Juan de Marcona, Andahuaylas, que hace el corredor minero de las Bambas, con una longitud de 600 kilómetros que también está en estudio. Otro tenemos en proyección futura lo que correspondería a completar o a iniciar el corredor longitudinal de la costa. Primero, con un tramo Barranca-Lima, con 200 kilómetros, que comprende del puerto Chancay, de la plataforma logística de Ancón en el Callao, hasta Cajamarquilla de carácter prioritario e importante logística, para una conexión entre Huaral y Ambo y Posuso, que es la próxima transversabilidad del ferrocarril. El otro tenemos en ese mismo eje, pero hacia el sur, el tramo Lima-Ica, con una longitud de 327 kilómetros. Igualmente en estudio de preinversión que tendrá un acceso al puerto de Pisco, una vez que se reactive totalmente. Tenemos otro que es la variante de Quisguarani a Yura, en Arequipa, de 42 kilómetros, un nuevo trazo para evitar la circulación de los trenes de carga para la ciudad de Arequipa. Los beneficios, eliminar la contaminación ambiental en la plena zona urbana, generada por los gases y los ruidos emitidos por las locomotoras. Este trabajo también está previsto y se piensa desarrollar en estudio. En el transporte urbano, ya quizás hemos visto algunos momentos, tenemos ya en ejecución el Metro de Lima y Callao, y actualmente se viene ejecutando la línea 2 y un ramal de la línea 4 con 7.6 kilómetros del Metro de Lima, con un presupuesto de más de 4.530 millones de dólares. Es así de que el Perú, con una visión futura, pretende incrementar sus líneas férreas a nivel longitudinal y a la vez transversal, aprovechando estas nuevas tecnologías y visiones que se tiene en lo que son las vías férreas. Esto como un preámbulo, quizás en el futuro se puede ir incrementando con algunas consultas directas, pero esta es una visión futura en la que la vía férrea para el Perú. Muchas gracias por escucharme.
Thank you very much, Mr. Galindo. That's all the presentations we prepared today. We would like to express our sincere thanks to all the speakers and the listeners who attended today. There are many programs tomorrow as well. We ask for your continuous interest. Once again, thank you and good evening.